Dolly Parton's death leaves stars heartbroken. Emotional tributes pour in. The world of music, Hollywood, and entertainment is mourning the loss of one of the most beloved figures in American culture. Dolly Parton, the legendary country singer, songwriter, actress, philanthropist, and businesswoman, has died at the age of 80. Parton died peacefully in Nashville on August 25, 2026, according to her family and publicist. Her death has triggered an enormous wave of grief, with celebrities, fellow musicians, actors, public figures, and millions of fans remembering a woman whose influence reached far beyond country music. But among the many tributes appearing online, some of the most emotional have come from people who knew Dolly personally, worked alongside her, or simply considered her an inspiration. One message in particular captured the feeling shared by so many people today. Kacey Musgraves, who performed with Dolly during the star-studded 2019 Grammy Awards tribute, took to social media after hearing the news. Her message was painfully simple. She wrote that the loss really hurt, and said the world suddenly felt a lot less sparkly. She also expressed comfort in the thought that Dolly was now reunited with her husband, Carl Dean. For fans who grew up watching Dolly's career, those words carried enormous weight. Because Dolly wasn't simply another famous singer. For generations of people, she represented optimism, kindness, determination, and the belief that you could come from almost anywhere and still build something extraordinary. And Kacey Musgraves was far from the only country star struggling to find the right words. Keith Urban also shared his reaction, describing himself as heartbroken and admitting that he honestly had no words. That feeling was echoed across social media as tributes continued to pour in. Reba McEntire shared one of the most deeply personal messages. Alongside a photograph of herself with Dolly, Reba remembered her friend with gratitude and described the enormous heart Dolly carried throughout her life. Reba reflected on Dolly's love, music, generosity, and the memories they shared. She also remembered their first meeting and their final conversation, saying that she would hold that final memory with love in her heart. And then came words that have become especially emotional for Dolly's fans. Reba said there would never ever be another Dolly. For someone whose career lasted nearly 6 decades, that statement says everything. Dolly Parton built a career that crossed generations. She wrote songs that became classics. She performed on some of the world's biggest stages. She became an actress, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and cultural icon. But perhaps most importantly, she became someone people trusted to make them feel hopeful. Her songs were there during celebrations. They were there during heartbreak. They were there during weddings, funerals, road trips, family gatherings, and quiet moments alone. And now those same songs are becoming part of the soundtrack to saying goodbye. Jamie Lee Curtis also shared a deeply emotional tribute. The actress posted a photograph of herself with Dolly and reflected on the courage it took for Dolly to recognize that she was capable of more than people expected from her. Curtis pointed specifically to Dolly's journey as a songwriter and to the story behind one of the most famous songs ever written, "I Will Always Love You." Her message was ultimately about courage, independence, and knowing when it was time to move forward. And that idea fits Dolly's life remarkably well. She spent her entire career refusing to stay inside the box other people created for her. She was a country singer, but she reached audiences far beyond country music. She was a songwriter, but she also became a movie star. She was a businesswoman, but she never abandoned her roots. And she became one of the world's most recognizable celebrities while continuing to emphasize the importance of family, faith, kindness, and hard work. Actor Colman Domingo also remembered Dolly as someone who taught people that they could become anything they wanted while still treating others with kindness. His tribute described Dolly as a light and expressed gratitude for having lived during a time when she was part of the world. That sentiment was shared by countless people. Julia Roberts, who worked with Dolly on the classic film Steel Magnolias, also released a statement. Roberts described Dolly as a magical and joyful human being and said that knowing her was a treasure in her life. She added that the sun had dimmed that day. For fans, that may be one of the simplest ways to understand what Dolly's passing means. The world feels a little different without her, and the tributes weren't limited to the entertainment industry. The Academy of Country Music released a statement mourning Dolly's death and emphasizing that her legacy reached far beyond the stage. The organization highlighted her unmistakable voice, unforgettable songs, generosity, and larger-than-life personality. Dolly had been a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Grand Ole Opry, and her contributions to country music stretched across generations. The Academy also remembered her recognition with the ACM Poets Award, honoring the songwriting talent that helped make her one of the most influential artists in country music history. But perhaps one of the most surprising celebrity tributes came from Khloé Kardashian. Khloé shared an emotional message describing Dolly as a once-in-a-lifetime soul. She reflected on how extraordinary it felt simply to have admired Dolly, let alone meet her and spend time in her presence. Khloé said she would never have words big enough to explain what Dolly meant to her. And she ended with a sentiment that has appeared again and again since the news broke. There will never be another Dolly. That phrase is becoming almost like a collective goodbye, because Dolly Parton's uniqueness wasn't just about her voice. It was about the combination of talent and personality. She could walk into a room covered in rhinestones and immediately command attention. But behind the glamorous image was a woman who consistently used her success to help other people. Her philanthropic work became one of the most important parts of her legacy. Through the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, she helped provide books to children, encouraging generations of young people to discover the power of reading. Her charitable efforts extended far beyond entertainment, and that is one reason her passing is being felt by people who may never have listened to a country music album. Dolly became bigger than music. She became part of American culture. She became a symbol of generosity, a symbol of perseverance, a symbol of